This trend is exciting me a lot and is going to excite a lot of attendees who is going to come to the conference.
We're excited. We have over 200 presentations and 310 speakers.
What are some of the most groundbreaking technologies being highlighted at this year's BioIT conference? What strategies do you use to enhance networking and engagement among the attendees? Welcome to Life Science Insights podcast. Today I'm discussing with Cindy, the Executive Event Director for BioIT World. We are discussing about the conference activities and all other initiatives on the BioIT space. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, so today we are going to talk about a lot of things, and let me start with the interesting question. What is the primary vision behind the BioIT?
So to give context around what our current vision is, I'd like to give some historical context on defining what BioIT means and how the event started, and a little bit more details about what our current vision and mission are currently. So BioIT means the intersection of IT and life sciences. It's an interdisciplinary field that merges biotechnology, computational science, and information technology to advance research, healthcare, and pharmaceutical innovation. It encompasses bioinformatics, data analytics, AI, artificial intelligence and machine learning, cloud computing, all accelerating scientific discovery and improving patient outcomes. So as part of the conference, we also have an editorial magazine, and both were launched around the same time in 2002. And the need for both of those launching was to recognize the growing challenges of managing biological data. And so first, the editorial magazine debuted in March of 2002, and the cover of the magazine was big, bold with words, "Bring it on," and IT was all in capital. And at the time, the scientific community was facing, I want to say, a surge of complex data. And this was noted actually in The Economist in 1999, which warned researchers about drowning in data. And so to address this, there was a need to have a dedicated voice for this emerging industry. And so hence the magazine was published and launched, and then the expo also was launched that coincided. So the inaugural BioIT World Expo established an industry-defining platform that united scientists, technologists, and business leaders. And it was launched in Boston. It opened with the keynote from Eric Lander, who at the time was the founder of the Broad Institute of Harvard and MIT. He was also a key figure in the Human Genome Project, and he emphasized the dawn of digital biology and the vital role that computational science and biomedical research and the impact that it would have on the biopharma industry. So our primary vision is to bridge that gap between the life science and IT by fostering collaboration between researchers, technologists, and industry leaders. We provide a platform to showcase those innovations, and we play a crucial role in accelerating scientific discovery, data-driven medicine, and digital transformation in healthcare. So our conference highlights those advancements. We highlight advancements in artificial intelligence, bioinformatics, computational biology, cloud computing, knowledge graphs, all of which are shaping the next generation of life sciences. And these technologies improve research efficiency, support precision medicine, and drive pharma innovation. And ultimately, all of this effort and these innovations and collaboration lead to better patient outcomes.
Wow, that's a great perspective. So, my next question was, how has the BioIT landscape evolved over the years, and what trends excite you the most?
Oh, that's a very interesting question. So BioIT this April, it'll be the 25th annual. And what we've seen over the past couple of decades, the landscape has undergone a remarkable transformation. So initially, the focus was on data collection and basic bioinformatics, and primarily dealing with sequence alignment and storage. However, the introduction of high throughput sequencing technologies such as next-gen sequencing led to an explosion of biological data. This surge necessitated the development of sophisticated data management, storage, and analysis tools. And so the integration of our AI is another trend, as well as with machine learning. Both of these have been a game changer because it allows for predictive analytics, automation, and new insights in drug discovery and precision medicine. Some other trends are around cloud computing, because this has further enabled global collaboration by providing scalable storage and computational resources. And then other trends and advances that we're seeing is the multi-omics data integration, real-time analytics, AI-driven predictive modeling, and blockchain applications for data security. So all of these trends, we're excited to see presentations on at the conference next month. They're set to revolutionize research and healthcare by improving efficiency, accelerating drug discovery, and enhancing patient care.
That's interesting. This trend is exciting me a lot, and it's going to excite a lot of attendees who is going to come to the conference.
I hope so. We're excited. We have over 200 presentations and 310 speakers just in our programming alone over the course of 3 days. So it'll be a lot of presentations on the trends and predictions, and we hope that our attendees will learn a lot.
What are some of the most groundbreaking technologies being highlighted at this year's BioIT conference?
So that's an interesting question too. I can think about 5 different technologies. One certainly is around artificial intelligence and machine learning platforms. And our attendees, while they like to learn about the technology and the latest and greatest, what they're most interested in is the application of this technology. And so we have a lot of presentations that will discuss AI and machine learning and how those can be applied in drug discovery, genomics, clinical decision support, that all accelerate discovery and improve patient care. So that's one area. Another would be multi-omics data integration tools. So these technologies that combine genomics, proteomics, and metabolomics to provide a comprehensive understanding of disease mechanisms. Another one that I can think of is around cloud, so cloud-based solutions that facilitate scalable data storage, real-time analytics, and global collaboration. Another would be digital twin models, which are simulations of biological systems for predictive modeling and personalized treatment strategies. And then the last one would be around blockchain for data security, so ensuring that data integrity and security in clinical trials and patient records. These types of technologies are playing a critical role currently, but they'll also continue playing a critical role in future innovations. So helping researchers and clinicians harness the power of big data, AI, and personal medicine. And our agenda next month places a really great emphasis on real-world use cases using real-world data and real-world evidence. And so examples of this would be a presentation by DuPont Therapeutics. So they'll be talking about how they're leveraging graph-based target identification to develop therapies for colorectal cancer. We also have In Silico Medicine, who is speaking in our plenary keynote program, but also in our track program on their generative AI platforms for designing small molecules and predicting clinical trial success. We also have Genomes to People's Baby Seek Project, Dr. Green, who is with Harvard, so a local institution, and how his project is leveraging genomic sequencing to uncover risk variants, transforming newborn screening and scaling precision medicine globally. And we're also excited that a lot of our presentations will highlight real-world pilot programs and innovative product results that offer attendees a concrete understanding of how some of these cutting-edge approaches are driving progress in life sciences. So one example is Gilead's informatics ecosystem transformation. Their particular presentation will showcase reimagining data infrastructure and how this can enhance decision making across drug development pipelines. And then we also have Sanofi's Biologics AI Moonshot program, which demonstrates the power of artificial intelligence in accelerating biologics discovery.
Wow, this is very fascinating, and this technology is going to push the boundaries for sure.
Absolutely.
So, what goes into the planning a large scale event like BioIT World, and any key challenges and learnings?
I've been in this role for a really long time, for over 20 years, and it's been amazing to see the growth of this event, the scale of this event, the team I've been working on, and many team members from over 20 years ago are still involved with me today. Um, and the event has become a premier hub for cutting edge knowledge and career advancement and bringing together industry leaders to drive innovation and shape the future of life sciences and technology. And planning a large scale event like BioIT, because we bring over 2,800 attendees from across 30 countries. So it's not a small task to be able to do that efficiently and effectively. But planning for that just goes beyond the logistics. And it's all about curating a world-class experience that brings together the brightest minds in life sciences and IT. Um, when I think back of throughout the years, a common theme has always been building the conference on a foundation of trust, reputation, and connecting deeply with a network of experts across the world, and who rely on us to not only stay ahead in this evolving industry, um, but also making those connections to help people stay abreast of the changes and predictions. And building this foundation takes so many years. And when people come to BioIT, they don't just come to listen, they come to engage, collaborate, and advance their careers. And many of our speakers have gone on to secure book deals, research grants, strategic acquisitions, because this event has been a launch pad for innovation and thought leadership. And I also think about what sets this event apart from other events that people attend in the life science industry. And one key factor is the quality of the content that we provide. And our sessions provide immediate practical takeaways that attendees can apply right away once they return back to their office. And so whether it's a breakthrough in AI-driven drug discovery or the latest advancements in computational biology or even transformative clinical data strategies, the event ensures that everyone who comes, our scientists, our technologists, and our industry leaders, walk away with knowledge that impacts their work. And so our event is more than just a conference. There's a lot of logistics that are involved in behind the scenes, and we provide a seamless experience for people on site, and we want them to enjoy their experience. So it's more than a conference. It's an ecosystem where
Yeah.
cutting edge ideas are exchanged, careers are shaped, and the future of life science is defined. And you asked me about the key challenges and learnings, and a few things come to mind. Keeping content relevant. So as the industry evolves, we need to ensure that our sessions align with the latest breakthroughs. And I actually have an example about this that I can talk later in our interview. Another would be adapting to hybrid and virtual formats. So when we have a world crisis like COVID, we had to transition to online. And when we went from in-person to online, we then went to a hybrid model. And so we still offer programming to people remotely who aren't comfortable or cannot travel in person to Boston. So adapting to those kinds of formats just ensures that we are flexible and we can support participation, whether people are in person or remote. Another key challenge in learning is around logistics and coordination. You're managing thousands of people who are coming, attendees, exhibitors, sponsors, speakers, and the execution of our event requires precision and adaptability. And then I guess the biggest lesson is that flexibility and responsiveness to industry changes. Those are critical to just ensuring that we have a successful conference and experience for everybody.
Wow. It's a massive undertaking. So a lot of moving parts.
Yes, and a lot of puzzle pieces to put together.
Yeah, it's not small. But how do you select the speakers and the topics to ensure the event remains cutting edge and valuable?
So when we approach our speaker selection process, we begin this process about a year in advance of actually identifying the topics and themes and the kinds of speakers that we would like to see on the program to cover these topics and themes. But when we select our speakers and topics for BioIT, it's not just filling an agenda. It's about curating relationships, what I had mentioned earlier. It's fostering connections. It's building a trusted community of thought leaders who return year after year. So the event is a platform where industry pioneers share breakthroughs, they challenge conventional thinking, and they shape the future of life sciences and technology. So our approach to speaker selection, it's built on long-term relationships, trust, as I already mentioned, and a commitment to excellence. And so we don't seek one-time speakers. We cultivate an ecosystem of scientists, innovators, and executives who are deeply engaged with our community. So many of our speakers have grown with BioIT. They use BioIT as a platform to connect with peers, gain industry recognition, and see a career advancement, secure book deals, as I already mentioned. And so to ensure that our content remains at the forefront of advancement, we take a collaborative and dynamic approach when selecting our speakers. So first would be industry engagement, where we work closely with advisory boards, research leaders, corporate innovators, who help us identify the most relevant and pressing topics. We also have a call for proposals that we launch in August or September timeframe, where we invite people to submit a topic for consideration for the program, and we're looking for groundbreaking case studies and research that we can highlight. Another approach that we take for speaker selection is trend analysis. So we actively track those emerging technologies that I mentioned around AI, cloud computing, digital twins, and we track the movement of that technology through our industry. We also look at regulatory change, and we look at the market shifts to keep discussions on the cutting edge. And then we also look at diverse perspectives. So we prioritize a balanced representation from academia, pharma, biotech, IT, to ensure that our attendees are gaining insights from multiple angles. So at the core, I would say that the BioIT World event is about community, it's about credibility, it's about continuity. So it's not just an annual event, but it's an ongoing conversation where leaders return to contribute, they learn and push the industry forward. And it's all built on that trust and that reputation that we've been building for over 20 years, so that when attendees come, that we ensure that they're not coming just to listen, but they're leaving with knowledge, they're leaving with connections that they're building, and they're leaving with new opportunities that just either help shape their careers or shape the research that they're doing that's going to make an improvement, whether it's in drug discovery, healthcare, or patient outcomes.
Okay. So, but what strategies do you use to enhance the networking and engagement among the attendees?
We have networking engagement within our structured sessions. So we have workshops, we have symposia, we have plenary keynote program, we have track sessions with breakouts. And so attendees, when they come, they're networking with each other in the session room, also with speakers. But the networking in the structured sessions, it's about fostering those connections. It's spontaneous conversation. It's long-term collaborations. And so we offer networking outside of the session rooms. And one of the most valuable interactions that attendees share with us, where networking happens, it's in the hallway. It's over coffee. It's that informal setting where the ideas spark organically. And so people feel like coming to BioIT gives them essentially like a reunion, like a family reunion. And so they're seeing familiar faces year after year. and they're also meeting new faces. And this type of networking interaction just reinforces the strength of this community. But specifically, beyond the spontaneous conversations in the hallway or the networking that happens in the structured sessions, we approach networking engagement in multiple ways. So one example would be our online networking platform. So we have a dedicated virtual platform where we offer attendees to connect with one another. And so this happens before you get on site, during on site, and then after the event. We also have social events and receptions. We have evening dinners, networking receptions in our exhibit hall. We also provide meetups, and these types of settings. BioIT offers a setting, to accommodate all of this, and it just supports networking and deeper conversations. We also have our poster sessions. So this is a really popular event for this. We also offer poster sessions, which is really popular for the event. It's one of our most interactive spaces, and we set up the poster sessions around the exhibit hall so attendees can engage with the presenters across all career levels. So we actually have high school students who display a poster to leading scientists and executives. And so these kinds of sessions create those cross-generational networking opportunities that can lead to unexpected partnerships. So beyond the formal networking, we just offer a lot of the spontaneity of those in-person interactions, which is a key aspect that defines our event.
How do you see AI transforming the way we approach research, data, and the healthcare innovation?
Absolutely. So AI has just taken on a role of its own, especially in the way that we approach biomedical research, even managing data, innovation opportunities in drug discovery and healthcare. And AI is fundamentally reshaping all of those. And so when I think about your question, I think about several examples. One would be like big data analysis or just data analysis in general, where AI can process vast amounts of biomedical data, uncovering patterns that humans might miss. Another area would be predictive modeling. So the role that artificial intelligence has in forecasting disease progression, patient outcomes, and drug responses, for example. Another would be precision medicine. So artificial intelligence helping to tailor treatments that are based on patients' genetic makeup and real-world data. Or operational efficiency is another example that comes to mind. So automating, so the role of artificial intelligence in automating administrative workflows, reducing costs and optimizing resource allocations. So as AI continues to evolve, I think it will empower researchers, clinicians, and policymakers to make data-driven decisions more faster and more accurately.
Wow, AI is truly a transformative now.
Definitely is. And I
Yes.
have an example that I'd like to share about the topic of AI and the generative AI and how we have seen that topic transform over the past year and changes that we actually made rather recently to accommodate that transformation. So back last summer, we decided to develop one of our plenary keynote sessions on the topic of generative AI. So the topic of artificial intelligence has been a theme that BioIT has been covering for many years. And with the BioIT 2024 program, we launched a track specifically covering the generative AI topic. And then for this year, April in 2025, we expanded that coverage to include a symposium on the topic of Gen AI tools, and then a plenary keynote on the topic of Gen AI. So last summer is when we made those strategic decisions to expand our content. And as we've been tracking the topic of Gen AI and just market shifts, we've noticed that there's been sort of a change in how organizations are approaching the topic of Gen AI, how they're using how they're using Gen AI tools within the organizations. And so we shifted the plenary keynote to no longer focus just on the topic of Gen AI, but to focus on next generational AI. And so I'll explain what I mean. So Gen AI literally means just creating content, and it's been a helpful tool where some of the key strengths are to create and to create different ways of utilizing data and also pattern generation. But that conversation has actually transformed and shifted to another type of AI called agentic AI, which actually takes action and plans and executes tasks based on the data. And so the key strength of Gen AI is that creativity and pattern generation that I explained, but with agentic AI, the key strength is goal setting and self-directed learning. And so because of the market shift and the conversation that's been changing and how the AI topic has been transforming, we actually updated our plenary keynote on Wednesday to expand the conversation on next generation AI. So that's just an example of how we see AI transforming in the four areas: big data analysis, predictive modeling, precision medicine, and operational efficiency. And then just an example of how we're responding to what we're seeing in the market in terms of the AI shifts.
That's true. That's true. I have an interesting question for you. So, what inspired you to work in the event management space, particularly in the life science and technology sector?
So I've always been passionate. This is a great question because it always goes back to the why of what we do and, why I'm so passionate about the role that I have with this event for so many years. And I've always been passionate about facilitating knowledge exchange, driving innovation, and creating spaces where breakthrough happens. And so the intersection of life science and IT presents unlimited opportunities to transform healthcare. And through event management, I play a direct role in shaping industry discourse by bringing visionaries together, researchers together, and industry leaders together. But just beyond just curating content and leading the team, I see BioIT as a platform for applied learning through networking and education. We don't just showcase cutting edge advancements. We enable professionals to engage with one another. Experts gain hands-on insights and immediately apply this new knowledge to work. And so whether it's through a panel discussion, a workshop, or a conversation to be had on the hallway, I'm just really inspired by what I see, what attendees share with me about their experience, and how these moments of learning and collaboration are driving real world impact. My goal is to build an ecosystem of trust, respect, and shared expertise, and where I want to see our audience come back year after year. And it's not just for the content, but for the connections and opportunities that we provide. So event management in the life science and technology sector, it's more than just organizing sessions to me. It's curating a community where innovation thrives, where knowledge is not just shared but applied, and where every participant walks away with an actionable insight. And to me, that's what drives my passion to inspire me to continue working on BioIT.
Yeah, it's an inspiring journey. Yeah. So, what advice you would like to give to the event organizers looking to make an impact in this space?
So that's a great question. Breaking into event planning, as I mentioned about curating an ecosystem, it's about that. It's creating that ecosystem of knowledge, the connections, innovation that delivers lasting value to attendees. And so when I think about your question in terms of that, I would say my advice would be to build relationships, not just events, to prioritize applied learning and engagement, to stay ahead of the trends in the industry, adaptability is key because event planning requires flexibility and resilience, and then creating a community and not just a conference.
Okay, that's a great advice. So, but what development do you foresee in the bio IT world in the next 5 to 10 years?
Transforming, and I'm excited to see where the event will transform. Um, I think there'll be rapid advancements in artificial intelligence, generative AI, and next generative AI models, quantum computing, for example. Quantum computing, I didn't mention that as a technology earlier, but that will break new ground in molecular simulations and bioinformatics, and that will offer solutions to problems in protein folding, for example, or genomic sequencing or biomarker discovery. Another development that I foresee would be around data-driven precision medicine and that how that becomes standard practice. Um, we'll see a greater adoption of digital twins in healthcare, which will enable personalized medicine. So that would be one example of how I see data-driven precision medicine becoming a development over the next 5 years. Another hot topic that's right now that I see developing even further is around ethical regulation in healthcare technology and the role of artificial intelligence. So as AI becomes more embedded in life science and patient care, regulatory frameworks will need to adapt to ensure transparency, fairness, and compliance. So that's going to be very difficult for our leaders in industry to navigate that balance between AI, automation, and human decision making. Human decision making, especially in clinical trials, diagnostics, and patient data management. Um, a couple of other ideas would be around cloud-based infrastructure, where we have cloud-native platforms and federated data models that enable global collaboration. Um, and then another area would be the growth in biotech investment in startups. So innovation funding in AI-driven drug discovery and computational biology will increase with biotech investments evolving rapidly, I would say.
Yeah, yeah.
Year an investor conference that's part of BioAT that connects emerging biotech companies with investors that fosters strategic partnerships to help drive that industry growth. So next month will feature that investor conference for the second year, and I predict that conference will still be part of the BioAT in 5 years.
My last question before we end the conversation: what is there any plans to expand the conference, or is there any plans to expand the conference globally or in a new format to take it to the next set of audience?
At the moment, no. We're intending to focus on the amazing event that we have based in Boston. We're entering our 25th year, and as we're shaping, the future of BioIT, we will continue to facilitate collaborations between scientists, technologists, and business leaders. And Boston is the hub for life science, and so we want to stay here. It's the place where the most important conversations happen, the biggest ideas that are shared, and the future of biomedical research being defined. And so we want to make BioIT the best and the greatest that it can be for years to come.
We had a lot of interesting discussion today on these topics, and thanks again for spending time with me on this podcast.
Thank you so much. Look forward to seeing you.